God, Allah, Yahweh, Bashim, Shai, Bashim, Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone of rule well. I am not a member, however, I've entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. This is simply just an addition to the video that you already see here on the screen. I will do my best to remember to link it. And the AI generated TikTok here is this video, okay? So I'm not going to replay it. You just go watch it and come back and watch this, or if you want to do vice versa, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the basic point of it is how once the mandatory implementation, we're talking Revelation 13:16, really comes, and it shows how our faith will be tested, and just kind of a physical representation of what it looks like to be basically killed, right? And it doesn't always mean physical. Sometimes, that's the thing. It goes into. Let me see. Is it on there? Don't take them. Shall be killed. Let's just read this right quick because I don't remember exactly where it's at. But basically, yeah. Before we read it, because I find that other scripture that I'm looking at. But yeah, it kind of just a physical representation of what it looks like, because these things, we have in our mind. They you don't really get the full scope of it, but if you can kind of pair a physical, something, a reference point, it'll help you put things all into perspective a little bit more, a little bit easier. And no loans, no, if you got a business, or because it talks about buying and selling, right? So that is the basis um, of what it is, what it means to live in Babylon, especially in the system of capitalism. And in Babylon, kind of, if you live here, it forces you to participate. By its very nature, it forces you to participate in capitalism. And I can't help but think that that was always the case, because it would make, I guess, this easier to especially to transition into this digital system. All right, especially when a country is as heavily armed as Babylon is. But let's just read. We're gonna open up with, of course, the most obvious and one that we cannot skip over, and we're going to. I think I'm gonna, yeah. Well, let's start from 11. All right, we'll read it all the way down. All right. I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, and you're seeing that those horns, um, of a lamb, that soft speech is turning into, authoritarian more, right? The rest of the world can see that Babylon, or the USA, is descending into a fascist state, right? But that will not be posted on the local media. You will need to watch other news. All right, everybody, all eyes are on Babylon, not only for this, but also because of the conflict between them and Persia, and also the backing of, the physical seed of Satan. Well, they all are the physical seed of Satan, but the least of the flock. Hold on, let me close the door. My dog's coming. All right. I don't need him. Love him to death, but I don't need him in here making a bunch of noise, and then he'll start snoring. But anyway, uh, 13 and 12. Yeah, let's keep going. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right, and you see a remake of Rome 2.0. This is Rome 2.0. Everything that you saw then, you see now, and also every other, wicked society that dealt with lowercase g gods. You see that here too. You are free to do anything along those means. The only thing that is off limit is talking about the the fake people, and are basically claiming your true heritage, right? And and with that, knowing the names, the true names, right? Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, right? And calling on those names, right? But you can do anything else, all manner of evil, wickedness, backwardness, waywardness, anything like that. You are free to go, or free to do so. The first 13, and he doth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that he should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that is what we are seeing here. This the AI and everything going digital. Um, Even your digital surveillance, right? And that video goes into the drones, all right, those those left-handed angels, like everything is surveilled, everything, and you are simply, or those who accept the injectable for the detectable, you are simply an access point, right, for that, because you will become a part of the Internet of Things. Especially, and I say an access point, if you know anything about setting up Wi-Fi and stuff like that in big buildings where the signal becomes weak, right, you just set up certain access points, and there's like a signal booster, right, and basically they can just pick up, as long as you're on that network, you can tunnel in, or you can, remote in, from an admin computer or an admin machine. There's that machine and the credentials of the person logging in. And I don't want to get too deep into the weeds. They have those rights. You can pretty much type in the IP address of whatever it is you need, and you can go straight to it. You are simply just another access point in the Internet of Things, right? In this digital slavery, in this digital system. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Your thoughts are no longer private. Your feelings are no longer private, and you can. The possibilities are endless when it comes to just how dystopian this thing would get if the Lord would allow him to complete, to his enterprise, which he won't. But just think, and the thought of that alone, would make you wish for death over this. I mean, at least it should. Or when I say death, I mean giving up in this physical presence. What did we say? Right here. Yes, and 15. So it was what I need, all right? And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, when you go into that thing, into this word here, it does not, I mean, it can mean physically, return to main menu, right? But it can also be an excommunication of society. You are dead to the system, right? You cannot access anything that you need. All right, to kill anyway, whatever, to destroy, allow to perish, right? To extinguish, abolish, inflict mortal death, to deprive of spiritual life, and procure eternal misery. And now we know that's stupid, but you will be deprived of a physical and natural carnal life, right? People will want things to return to normal, and because of that longing for normal, they are going to bend the knee. But we know that there is something greater that's coming, and that third woe, right? There's the three things we're waiting on: is the mandatory implementation, the third woe, and then Yahushua's return. But we know that third woe ain't gonna go full blown. You still need the mandatory implementation, which we are reading here. All right, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive what you receive in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have, or the name or the number of his name. Right, and I always talk about why it mentions the forehead. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if someone's argument, to bending the knee would be, it says right hand and forehead. So I mean, this is in my left hand, because you know how Jake can get. Not only Jake, but you know how, because Christian, as a former Christian, you have to be a brain dead some bitch, and forgive me for my speech, but you got to be a dumb some bitch to remain a Christian in 2026. And at that point, that is divine intervention in reverse, because you have just been blinded. Because anybody with any lick of sense uh, could throw this off, should throw that off. But anyway, I digress. They will argue the semantics, all right? They'll be pulling at straws here. Or they say, I didn't get it in my forehead, it's at the base of my neck. But I go into that forehead because that is where your prefrontal cortex is, and I've done videos on that before, and it is in charge of your personality, your decision making, right? So that is representation of all of that being taken from you. You are no longer you, all right? You are just another access point in the Internet of Things, and your decisions will no longer be your own, right? And it is the same as when you bow down to Yahweh while Yahweh Shai, right? Your decisions are no longer your own. You think of something else before. You fear the Lord, and that guides and that drives your decision making. You won't do certain things because you have a guide, right? You have the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Do they save you? No. But it is a good guide on how you should conduct your life. Vice versa, on the carnal side, you accepting this injectable for the detectable, then that is your guide, and that is your decision maker. And because you were led by carnality, right? And you were basically being given over unto your idol. Scriptures talk about that. These things made of wood and stone, except this one this one has life, right? So I'll get one more before we go in. I kind of want to play a little bit of the video just to give a little bit more context. But I'll go to the actual one. But I'm still linking the YouTube video that the brother did, the GMS Vegas sit down. I'm gonna link that in the description box as well. Um, let's go. But definitely things to meditate on, something to think on. Um, because we're marching very close to it, and in the flesh it is scary, but in the spirit, you know you're covered, and you're just going to have to fight the flesh. And how do you do that? With the gift of faith, all right? The gift of understanding, with the gift of wisdom. The last part of Revelation 13 tells you, here is wisdom. So you know what's coming. You know who he is. The man of sin is revealed, through the Holy Spirit. And that was also a gift to you. You're able to see, and you're able to know. You have the end result. You have the answers to the test. And this thing of ours. It's simple, but it is not easy. Hebrews 4:14. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Yahweh Shai ban Yahweh, let us hold fast to our profession. Yeah, 15. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Right. So if you read that in the NLT, the high priest of ours understands our weaknesses, right? And if you go, dang, that reminds me of Romans. We're gonna get that next. He understands our weaknesses. Why? Because he came here in mortal flesh and took on all of that, all of our sin, everything that we've done, and saved a nation, right? Not a universal thing. He saved those who were bound by a covenant, and released them from that, and now you are operating under grace. And while you operate under grace, you are to behave like somebody who is remorseful, who is contrite, who understands that they are the offending party and should be doing all that we can, to be made right, okay, or to make things right. This high priest of ours understands our weaknesses, for he faced all of the same testings we do, yet he did not sin, right? So all we put on Yahweh Shai, we put on the elect. we look at the trail he left, right? We will look at those footprints he left, and then we walk those very same footprints to the best of our abilities. And where you stray, whether it be to the left or to the right or even to the reverse, there is grace to catch you, to push you forward, to push you back center line. It's almost like being on a horse. All right, sometimes your horse will, you want him, head and neck, neutral spine, looking forward. And sometimes they'll kind of they'll drift over to the left, and you squeeze your thigh and give them a little kick and get them back center line. Sometimes they stop because they see something that, especially if it's a horse that is raised in a barn, he may not be as sure-footed as a horse that was kind of pasture raised and kind of went wherever, experienced certain things where he was on uncertain footing, uncertain ground. Maybe he doesn't want to cross a river. Maybe there's something he sees that he doesn't want to cross, and he stops in his tracks and goes backwards. But there's a rider on his back that can see past that uncertain ground, and hopefully you picking up what I'm putting down, and that rider pushes you forward and you walk, and as scary as you walk to it, as the animal, as the beast of burden, and then you get past that uncertain ground and you realize it was certain after all. These worries I had were unfounded, and then you gain confidence. And the more confidence you get, the easier, or I don't want to say easier, but the better prepared you will be for other uncertain grounds you have to walk. That's what I should say. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But anyway, but also I mentioned, what is it, Romans 12, Romans 9, groanings. All of these gifts we have. Romans 8:26, that's what it is. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought. But the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered, right? Especially in a time of panic. If you can't remain calm, you tend to make hasty and unprofitable decisions. So in a time of panic, you may not know what to pray. You just say, Yahweh Bashim Shah, help me. So I don't know. I have no idea. But the sincerity within this, the Spirit, that link, that the Holy Spirit, a piece of the Holy Spirit that was given to you, and then the Spirit that is in the heavens, boom, they connect. And Yahweh Shah is like, hey man, this, he cool, he good, all right? Because nobody can go up and to the Father but through the Son, right? So, all right, and there's that connection between you and Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh sees the Son, and your prayers will be answered, even though you didn't even know the words to speak. If that's something you believe, of course. If that, if your level of faith allows that. Prayerfully it does. Prayerfully all of ours does, and that it does not wane and it does not fade in the midst of loss in a worldly level, because it's going to hurt. It does. You will feel it. I don't care what anybody says. That initial sting is always there, and then you regather and you regroup, right? That is when you go into your spiritual bag. But that initial sting is always there. If I can give another analogy, it's like getting punched in the face for the first time, right? But if you've done your proper training, your shadow boxing and your muscle memory kicks in, and you're stunned, and then you regain. So let's let this play just a little bit. I don't want this to be too long, but I just want to get a little bit for the sake of context. And also, like I said, I'm going to link that brother's video as well.
Historic step forward in our national security. Let's go live to reporter Sarah Martinez at the Registration Center downtown.
Now, bear in mind that this is AI generated, and it is just like what this might be or what this might look like is one, and two, this is from a Christian perspective. So chew the meat, spit out the bones. But we're not letting the whole thing play.
More than 50,000 people have come here this morning to register. This is the future of secure identification,
linking identity, healthcare, and payments in one verified system.
When the mark of the beast is introduced, countries will present it as a matter of national security.
You see the panic on Jake's face. All right, and you see, and I don't know if AI is doing this, but even to highlight something as small as, the this brother's wear, a blue collar worker, just trying to make ends meet. This is middle class, and there is no more middle class. There's only upper and lower poor. This is who the aim is, because these are the people that just want life to return. Whatever we got to do, I just need it to return to normal. And then you see the ID in his hand, or I'm sorry, the that's not an ID, that's a bank card, maybe. But yeah, I'm not sure. But you see, even the wear, the very dress, and then I find it ironic that it is a Jake here, and blue collar Jake, right? So small things that to pay attention to, and I wonder if this AI is picking up, or has learned a thing or two, and which is why it had painted this picture the way it painted it.
Every financial institution, from the banks, hospital, and even supermarkets, will state that it is a requirement that you have the mark.
Banks, hospitals, supermarket, buy, sell, health, eat. And those three things right there encompass at least 80% of what is needed. You gotta eat, you gotta transact, right? Whether to pay bills, to pay mortgage, to pay car payments, to pay insurance. In order to maintain what you have, you need a bank. Can't go to the hospital without it. Then you're left to think about those who may have a cancer, or some sort of treatment that can't, in their mind, can't be healed outside of the herbs or things of that nature. Or maybe you're a GSW. You have a GSW, all right, a pew pew, a wound, a gun. Fuck it, a gunshot wound. I don't know. I don't got no views. I shouldn't get it. Probably shouldn't hurt to just say it. Maybe you got a gunshot wound or some sort of fatal thing, and you're turned away. And maybe it isn't because the person wants to turn you away. The system is set up, they physically cannot do anything. And people will be afraid for their own safety, for their own provision. They have children to feed. They have mouths to feed. They have a roof to keep over their head. So, they'll have the thing in them. And they're like, I'm sorry, I want to help, but I can't. All right? Because everything is surveilled. And then you will be punished for helping those who don't have it will be persecuted and talked about and painted as terrorist, dissenters, enemies of the way of life, enemies of returning to normal. Okay, you will be painted all manner of things. All right, so all of this stuff is something to meditate on, to think about, not out of fear, but just so you're ready to think about possibilities. And that is something also that the military will teach you, depending on your career field. It's weird to say, but think about dying. If you imagine possibilities, you won't be as shocked if and when those things happen. You've gone over it in your mind. All right, say you got a certain mission or whatever, and you're going into a very hostile territory. Just am I okay with death right now if it happens to hit? And you make that determination, and then you go out and you inevitably do what you got to do, and prayerfully the Lord is with you. And the Lord was with me. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, long enough to get out of that bull. Anyway.
I'm sorry, but without the mark, we can no longer provide you access.
Banks won't allow you to access any funds without it, and supermarkets won't allow you to purchase any goods without it.
You'll need to get registered before you can shop here, sir.
Hospitals won't treat any patient who hasn't been marked.
I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't proceed without your digital mark.
The mark of the beast won't be branded as evil. No, the mark will be incentivized. Early takers will be offered discounts and access to products and services. Then, gradually, those benefits will be exclusive, only to be available for the marked. They'll call it modern convenience. You'll call it a small price to pay, until the day you can't eat without it. Can't travel.
Reminder, all riders must verify digital identity before boarding.
Can't breathe in society.
I'm sorry, sir. We can't proceed without verification.
Boom, you cannot breathe there. See, so when you go back and it says the 13 and 15, all right, it says that dang, hello, can't talk. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Can't breathe in society. What happens when you can't breathe? You're killed. There is no, and of course we're talking about a not a physical ending of life, but you are pushed out, excluded. Do I need the other one? But again, that is why we are building up faith, building up that inner man, investing early. I think it's Psalms. And this is I think this is a long one. Yeah, this is the long one. Damn. I rejoiced with my lips. I have declared judgments of thy mouths. Blessed art thou, O Yahweh, teach me thy statute. Psalms 119 and 11, thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. And that is the basic part of trusting in Yahweh Bashim Yahshua early, investing early, before all of this was made obvious. Those of us who had faith and who walked in it and believed, we've been strengthening ourselves for this very time. And it is not to our on our own power, on our own accord, right? This is a blessing. Never forget that. This was a blessing given to you. And the more you lean into it, right, you get what you get. You get what you put in. And that is a hard thing to learn, because you got to really catch yourself sometimes. You get into the folly of everyday life, but remember to catch yourself. And when this time comes, right, there's a way of escape. I will make a way of escape. Because there has to be miracles. If you think about it, you just think about this thing. How are you going to find your own way out of this, right? And the scriptures tell you his servants are going to eat and drink, while those who starve and die of thirst, right, and those who will be numbered to the sword and numbered to famine, all of these things. How, if it is a physical impossibility without that thing in you to operate? There has to be miracles. The things have to ramp up. They were done before. If you're given the faith, to believe that, they will be done again, even greater. Damn it. That old English. First Corinthians 10 and 13. What just happened? Oh, okay. That's why. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Right, there had no temptation taken you but such as common to man. But this one is the big one, though. This is going to be the big one. But Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way of escape, a way to escape. That's why I said a way of instead of a way to, that ye may be able to bear it. And we are going to be given that. But again, you're going to have to operate in faith. But I think we've covered what we needed to cover. I will link the original video, this one, the GMS Vegas sit down here, reload it. I'll put that in there as well. But we're in for a bumpy and interesting ride. And my utmost prayer is that you were edified and that Yahweh Yahushai look out for you and your loved ones, and that whatever you pray, in regard to discernment and strengthening of faith, or just to make it out of this, I pray that they are answered, that your prayers are answered, and that we are all covered. So till then, shalom, or on to the next, should I say, shalom.